Good afternoon. I am Matthew Oliver Kondo. I'll be your host for today, filling in for Louise. It is 12:03, and today we'll be looking at an issue that affects Fiji and the rest of the world. Now, as the 26th of June, that was last week Friday, it marked the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. And today in studio, I have with me Kalesi Volotambu, the founder of the Volotambu Group, and also Drug Free World Fiji, including Osea Wanganivatu, who is the operational officer of the Drug Free World Fiji. Good afternoon, and thank you for coming in today. Bula. So tell me more about this group and how you commemorated that day.
Wow, it was huge. So obviously, Volotambu Group came into the shores Fiji last year in about June, July. That's when we actually started doing campaigning, media campaign, but then obviously the response from the community was overwhelming. So far from last year in July when we kicked off, looking back now, we have direct delivered to, this is before the week we just had to commemorate UN International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Before then, we have direct delivered to over 30,000 people.
Wow.
Young people, family, yes, in community.
Across Fiji?
Across Fiji. And then I'm just talking majority of the time is around Ubiti level.
Including the out islands?
We've got teams that go out, but for us it's drug free.
Yeah.
Literally what we've done here in Viti level alone was over 30,000. Yes.
And currently, how many volunteers do you have?
Wow. After last Friday, when that event kicked off, we had over 300 volunteers.
Wow, that's a big number.
It was a huge number and like something that we wouldn't have thought it was going to get that big. It was, though. It was huge. But then obviously with us, like I said, 30,000 we've direct delivery to. And then social media, over 250,000 to 500,000.
Wow.
Because of the reaches, the leads that we've had all the way through, the work we were doing, and all it's not just from here in Fiji we were getting the response from, international as well.
And is this something that you've always dreamt of doing?
Wow. I don't know. No, not something I've dreamt of, but somehow my life experience have actually took me onto that curve. God had a plan for my life, and the same with Osea. Yes, because of my the hardship that I went through. Yes, the messes and the ugliness that I faced through life. Yeah, my calling, I suppose, yes. For us, coming back here after living overseas, I've been overseas for 35 years, and then coming back home. It was 2 years ago I got the invitation to come back and actually serve the country. Yeah, because of the problem we were having here. So I didn't, I had to pray over it and make sure it was God's timing. Yes, the timing was timely, literally, for us to come back and actually do this.
And what have been some of the difficulties when you started this whole group and the whole movement? It seems to be doing really well.
It has. And I think what it was, in the end, because of what happens is, okay, in overseas, my working with the judicial system for 20 years, it's literally working with the police and the prisons and everything. What I've done, and I've literally mastered, is how to lobby government, how to lobby community, and, how to actually apply things that it's, when you struck the heart, the doors is going to open. It doesn't matter where you're sitting. So that's literally what we've done coming here. I need to know, they had to do a mapping. When we talk about drugs, nobody wants to share their information. Nobody wants to actually share, what sort of, drugs they've seen, of experience, of they've dealt with. Yes. So finding an organization to link in with, it's already got their arms and legs on the ground. And that was Survival Advocacy Network. So they work with a safe space for sex workers and the LGBT community in Nabua. These guys, they don't get any funding. They just do it with a heart. So it was like a marriage.
What are the names again? Of the
Survival Advocacy Network.
So SAM.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. But how about working with different stakeholders? What has that been like?
Working with different stakeholders, it has been, I suppose we were fortunate that when we came in, we were able to sit with the platform, with the National Task Force, National Task Force for Drug Reduction for the government. That by far was like, you need to link in with the right people to be able to do this work, right?
So it's on a who-you-know basis kind of thing.
Yes, it is. But at the same time, it's like you don't just sit there and say, you know what, I'm going to sit here and look pretty. Heck no. Because the community are crying for help.
That's true.
And they need the help. So we are so fortunate that Ministry of Defence allowed us the opportunity to do that with them. Ministry of Defense, and then obviously with that on the task force, we'll be able to join arms with the Fiji Police, with the drug unit, to go in and actually do drug awareness together, which is by far, like, something that we haven't done or we don't practice a lot of.
And yeah, I know obviously the police have their, like you said, their own task force.
Yeah.
Clearly they have their own people that go into the communities and also talk about drugs. And then you have existing organizations within the ministry like NASEC. What has it been like working? Have you worked with all three of them at once?
So, yes, that was the whole drug awareness outreach week we did in Lautoka last week. So we kicked it off from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I'll talk about our day program, and then I'll get Ossia to talk about exactly that when we went out into the village.
Okay.
So our day program was literally just going out there and talking. And the thing is, because of COVID, the lack of unemployment and everything, and obviously the increasing rate of crimes that's going to happen, the increasing, crime or issues regarding drug dependency, and the prevalent meth uses that's happening across the board.
And do we have a problem when you talk about drug dependency here in Fiji?
Yes, we do.
How big of a problem
How
would you
big
say?
of a problem? All you got to do is look at St. Giles. Do you think we've got spaces in They have literally, the increasing numbers that goes in each week. They don't have the beds for them anymore. And then obviously the prisons as well. Custody, there's no room in the prisons for them.
Well, we'll be back with more to talk about this pressing issue rather. Sorry about that. But hopefully, if you have any questions, stay listening in and I'll open up the lines for you to call in. Welcome back to the show. It is 10 past 12. And like I said, I'm with the founder of the Volatambu Group and also the Drug-Free World Fiji, Kalesi Volatambu, including her associate, the operational officer, Osea Wanganibatu. Now, you were talking about more about the day and what had happened.
Yes. So obviously in Lautoka, the day, it was in two phases. So we had a day program, and then we had an evening program. The day program, we had 40 volunteers. That was 40 volunteers.
And is that the biggest number you've ever encountered in any part of Fiji?
In one space, and in the intensity of what they had to do, the task they had to do. So obviously they broke up into 4 different teams.
Yeah.
And each team had a police officer with them, a community liaison officer, a community policing officer. Yes, and that walked with them all the way through it. They went to places literally, they walked the highways. They went all across Lautoka. And that's what they literally do, was going, sharing the factual information, talk to them openly about drugs, what are some of the issues, what they see, and asking them directly, what do they know? Do they know, what are some of the factual information do they know? Is it something that they've heard, something they've seen, something they've experienced? It gave them the flexibility or even no reservation whatsoever to say things, to share things. And I'll get Ossia to show the evening program.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened within the evening program?
So the evening program was good. Like I don't know when was the last time we had the Turanikoro to call out to the community to get together, so we can share out the factual information about drugs, especially for the methamphetamine. And you can see like we were like divided into 3 groups.
Yeah.
So myself and Vilsemani from NESEC was in one group, and ASP Masitambua was with another group in that evening.
Have you always found it welcoming for communities to basically, let you come in with your volunteers and talk about the issues that is drugs?
Yes.
And
because we were not expecting that much community to come together, to come and hear what we want to share about the drugs. So they always knew about marijuana and all the stuff, but for the methamphetamine and cocaine,
that's something completely new to them.
Yes, they are.
So, given the fact that you work with the communities, what do you normally tell them? Like, how do you disseminate your information?
Just to start my testimony, I'll say that this was my drug of choice, was marijuana. So it got to a stage. You're gonna be like in the first peak,
Yeah.
in the second peak, you're gonna be looking for the harder ones and more harder ones. Yeah, until you go and hit the ice. So the look in their face, like you can't believe, like they wanna know more about it.
Yeah.
So I just explained a few the sign and the side effect of it. Yeah, and
And are there other people like you within the group that also share their personal experiences when dealing with drugs such as marijuana and other hard type of drugs, like you said, with methamphetamine?
most of the village, but not the first village that we went to.
Yeah.
Yeah, the second village, like they were saying, they've tried it, and they make a decision to just quit
What are usually the reasons that they decide to quit using drugs?
because they find out like they draw a line between their families.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're keeping away from their families, and
So is that like a common thing that you both encounter when they talk about their usage of drugs? Their family is what sort of like tethers them down and pulls them away from all that risky behavior?
No, I think what it was, like, I suppose what worked well for us is share our testimony. Also, his drug of choice, like you said, is marijuana. Mine is ice. So that was for me. So I speak from my experience, because the thing is, at the end of the day, we need to start looking at the taboo subject.
Yeah.
It was due to the taboo subject that drove me to numb the brokenness and everything that I went through. Yes. That's why I went for the drugs, because of everything that happened to me, right? So those one, when we're talking to the young people, when you're an addict, when you're a dependent on drug, you are introverted.
Yeah.
Right? It's all about you. The whole world, like, is a mess. There's, and the thing is, you isolate yourself from everyone else. Nobody else to do it. But the thing is, at the end of the day, they feel guilty of what they're doing. So for them, it's literally, it's best just to be able to just to distance, not to care. Literally.
What is usually the response like once you share your story?
Oh, man.
What do the youth say to you afterwards?
The breakthrough. Because the thing is, with me, what I went through growing up as a domestic violence home as a child, you as a child, and what that's taught you when the seed is planted at that age, from 5 to 6 years old. Alcohol, for me, my first experience, how young I was, and then obviously get sent overseas by my parents at 13, and was never allowed to return home. And as a 13 young girl, which we did in Namoli, I think we did, in one of the village there, I actually called out into the audience for a 13-year-old to stand up, and a few village, yes, for her just to stand up and actually say, get her to come and stand next to me. And I just ask the parents, you look at this young girl, she's a 13-year-old. This is how old I was when my mom told me I couldn't come back home. Yes. The brokenness, like literally the parents started saying, oh my God. And that was literally one for me. Then obviously I ended up on the street being homeless. I was raped, physically assaulted, trying to commit suicide 50,000, all those lists of things. It's like, because I am bold enough to speak about this. This is my issue. This is my labels, you would say. It does not define me.
No, it doesn't.
No, it literally just, catapult me to actually go out there and push for more for those where the gap is and everything else. That's hence why we're here in Fiji.
Khaleesi, I just want to thank you for just showing us how vulnerable you can be and just sharing your experiences and your stories, both of you. But we'll be back right after the break and we'll talk about more. Welcome back to the show. Kalera, you were talking more about, Khaleesi, sorry about that. You're talking more about your experiences and the hardships that you have to deal with. Now, what can you tell us? Like, what was some of the things that helped you recover, helped you just get out of that dark hole that you were in?
And that's the thing. You will never find, there's not a perfect book for anybody. When you've gone through the different messes or ugliness that you go through, it's literally, it's what's within you, who you are as a person, how much of a fighter you are. Yes. I never knew that I could, boldly stand up and share these things, because they're ugly stuff. Yeah. So when we're in the village or, talking to the people, and it's true, just telling them, literally, it's like when you see someone undressing in front of everyone, there is nothing else. But the thing is, there is this strength that comes from within that, yes. And the thing is, life was never meant to be easy. It's full of messes, but
Yeah.
it's through those messes, there is a message. So through my mess, yes, there is a message in there for one person or two person or three, maybe sitting in the audience. And like test, you go through tests all your life. Those tests are literally your testimony. You need to share that. You literally need to share that in order for you to grow, in order for you to gain the strength. Doing it with, I remember, I think the very last event we did was when the volunteers, when we all got together at Tanoa, and we just shared a little bit. And there was one song, and I will never forget. It was called Nagvivian Buddha. Yes. I have never heard that song like to be sung in such a way. And these are all the volunteers, because the thing is with them, they have gotten out of their comfort zones. They've literally pushed the barriers for themselves. Some of them have gone through hardship themselves. And, to be able to go out to a stranger, some of them were introverted. Some of them literally have, contemplated suicide. So all these little things, all the way through. But when they sing that song, there's a line, it's Wangataki au Turanga. That song was literally the breakthrough. You could just feel the Spirit, the Holy Spirit in the room. A lot of them literally just thought, okay, this is my plan. This is my purpose. Yes. So it's amazing just to be there with all of them and just to share that moment, because those are priceless moments. Yes, they are.
And I applaud you and your team for, creating a platform, at least something for them to be able to share that sort of experiences. Now, you spoke earlier about how a lot of the issues that you dealt with was because of family. Now, would you say the same thing would be for most of the young youths that you encountered here in
Yes.
Fiji? Would family be one of the key issues for a child resorting to drugs and other risky behavior?
Marcia, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, most of our kids nowadays, like they use the drugs as the escape,
Mm.
and most of them they use it for a reason. Probably the mom and dad or girlfriend and boyfriend, they're not getting along together, so that's the whole reason why they use the drugs, just to numb the pain that they go through.
And do you think that some of the pressure has to do with either religion or cultural, expectations?
Oh, very much. I suppose here in Fiji, the rigid teachings that we have for our young people, our children. So the thing is, it's either you've got to be a doctor, a lawyer, or, all those high
A man or woman?
Yes,
Yeah.
those high expectation, which the thing is, we don't give them the choice. Yes, the choice is literally removed from them, and they're just literally, okay, this is what you have to do. And it's those kind of things. It's like, through this journey, we met so many young people, and once we got to see them and connected with them, oh my gosh, the beauty, the creativity in these young people just come out. And the thing is, it's like not just in Low Talk. I suppose, you know what, I need to start acknowledging all the young people across Fiji right now.
With that being said, why Lotoka? Why did you guys choose Lotoka?
I think for me, for both of us, I suppose.
Just an easy answer is like, it's very easy to get the youth together.
In Lotoka?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh man, that's
We've-
saying something for the rest of the
I
communities.
know. That's what it was. It was like the unity. The young people we worked with was Western Youth Empire. Western Youth Empire, it was literally, they knew the line, the chain of command.
Yeah.
And that was it. When one person spoke, everybody but the thing was, it's like, they just wanted to join in. In one space that we had 80, but it was like, we can only have 40.
Oh man.
But yes, they.
So what happened to the other 40?
Well, that was the thing. They wait in line till there's a next event and everything. But it just got to show literally how these young people,
And the passion, eh?
the passion, all they need is a little platform and they will go for gold. Yes.
So just give you an idea of the youths that were present. Like, what were they like? Were they different? Were they different ethnic backgrounds? Were sexual
Yes.
orientations? Like, what were you
Yes.
looking at?
Oh, they were all came from different backgrounds, diverse communities, age group even. But I think the youngest would have been 13 or 14 he was, yes. LGBT community, even sex workers as well. Some of them just lost their jobs because of COVID, and just sitting at home, they think, you know what? Why don't I try volunteer work and see what happens? Oh my God, the growth that they got just to be able to, because you know what? Money is only temporary. When you give, when you invest your time into something that is powerful, man, the rewards is amazing.
What sort of rewards do you have for your volunteers? Like, what sort of incentives do you have for them that sort of makes them keep volunteering? Because I know working with volunteer groups, that can be a really difficult thing.
Oh, wow. It's just, you know what? It's just a matter of finding the right, how to literally talk to these young people that it's not the money that drives them. It's the passion. It is the love, the care, the compassion for everyone else. So the whole 4 days these young people were doing this volunteer, they were walking through fields, cane fields, mind you, highways, yes, in the burning sun, but they still came back the next day. It was more of that unity that actually drew them all together.
And you can't buy that kind of dedication. Can
You can't. That's literally, it's unscripted. You can't even plan that. There was nothing else but literally just the compassion to give. That was the thing.
And what do you think, would be, I mean, you talked about the drugs and the type of drugs that the people are using. Which particular drug, and I'm hoping we can talk more about this after the break, but right now we'll take a quick break and we'll be back to know more about what drug currently at the moment is the most pressing social issue here in Fiji. Welcome back. We're 25 past 12, and I will be with you, Matthew, with you on the show, to Speak Your Mind, Filling in for Louise. Now, we've been talking a lot about the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking, and this is the theme for this year, Health for Justice and Justice for Health. Now, could you elaborate more on that?
So literally, I just need to recorrect that. So Health for Justice, Justice for Health was last year's theme. This year's theme is better knowledge for better care.
Oh, okay.
Yes, better knowledge for better care. So literally, what we were seeing from the work that we've done, literally for the last 12 months. So we go by the work that we've done, literally on the grounds, and what we've been able to get, feedback from everywhere else. So we go and spend 1 day a week in St. Giles. So for us, we're very much right in the amongst of it every Thursday. So we go and see it with the patients. So that it's just a whole lot of group work, and it's amazing when you see newcomers, new young boys and girls coming in all the time, and the issues, the drug of choice and everything else, and you can really see the remnants of what meth has done to them, meth or ice.
Yeah.
It is a very dangerous drug. There is lack of information out there about this drug, meth. Marijuana, everybody knows marijuana, we go to young kids and we do outreach with the kids, and we ask them, you got the little toddlers, not the toddlers, sorry, the 5 to 6 year old, and you ask them, hands up, who's seen marijuana? Majority of the time, all hands goes up, and you think, oh, okay. And you'd see the parents sitting at the back giggling or, stunned.
Yeah.
But yes, but more of the drugs that we see here is meth is the most dangerous one of all, because you can cook that in your home, literally, and the ingredients are found in the supermarket.
You're kidding.
No.
So you mean to tell me if, I don't know, a 15-year-old wanted to cook meth, he simply goes online, learns about it, and can...
Yes.
That's simple.
YouTube.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
That's how dangerous it is.
And currently, at the moment, what is, to your knowledge, that is, what is the youngest person right now who has been...
The youngest one that I've met was 11-year-old boy. And the thing is that I need to stress here in Fiji, and something that is so dear to my heart, is in Australia, we've only, there's a lot of, they snot or they smoke through a pipe, the meth. But here in Fiji, we needle users. A lot of us are literally intravenous. So with the needle, they share the needle. So that's another added element literally to it, from, the HIV or Hep C's and all that. So the youngest one was a 14-year-old boy. Some of the young girls that I've met, they'd be 18 or 19. I've seen track marks on their arms, and it's so sad to see that now in Fiji. 1987, the only drug I knew was marijuana, and that was done behind closed doors. I come back last year after 35 years. It's like smoking cigarette. It's like, okay, you want a joint? That's what happens. It's like, what happened?
Well, given everything that's happened with COVID-19 and there's the restriction of movement because of curfew, have you seen a decrease in the amount of drug use in the country?
What's that?
I think for this lockdown, like there's not much drugs being around.
Mm.
So once the border is open, like you can just buy it in just the corner of the street.
Yeah, and given like how you're so active within the communities throughout the country, do you have an idea of which communities are mostly affected by this particular drugs?
No.
Can you identify?
No. To tell you the honest truth, these drug meth, it does not discriminate. It doesn't care. You can't say it's only the low socio the
Nothing with
family.
socioeconomic status.
Yeah,
Nothing like that.
no. The rich, I mean, like you just got to look on TV and see who's making the headlines with meth or ice. So, with the businesses and everything else, it doesn't really care. Yes.
What would be the biggest sign if, let's say, a young person is taking meth? What could you see just by looking at them? What are the common features?
What are some of the reactional sounds?
The way they act.
The way they act?
Yeah, the way they act and the way they look. Like for marijuana, like it makes your eyeball red, but this one here is like crystal white. Your eyeball is crystal white.
Okay.
Yes, and yeah, you get more, like you got more stronger than who you are.
Huh.
You're more alert. You grind your teeth.
A lot.
Yes, you do. You grind your teeth and everything else. So when you calm down the withdrawal, so it seems like it's like they call them meth bugs. It feels like they've got bugs in their skin, so they're forever like that, twitching. They're scratching or actually just twitching. They can't stop twitching.
What about other things like weight loss? Somebody.
Of course, because when you're on meth, you don't eat. We've seen young people literally will go days without even eating nor sleeping. It ages you, a great deal. For 23, I think she was the young person that I met one time. She had track marks here. And in her veins, she called them breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh,
This
man.
is here in Fiji. So obviously, after doing meth for so long and everything else, it's actually, the track marks. It's gotten worse, so she can't do it. So
And
she goes to the doctor, and they actually just give her a drip, and that's it.
With
I'm,
this,
I'm guessing these things are cheap, right?
No,
So how do they get the money, or where do they get their money from?
that's the thing.
they'll
So
do
it's-
anything to get the money to buy
Yes.
their gear.
They will steal anything. They will break into anything to get their money. Yeah.
The worst case for these addicts, when you are on ice, like,
Yeah.
you can't even smell your own body.
Oh man.
Yes.
So a lot of the times you can just, apart from body odor, it's just that reek of,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You do. And the thing is, at the end of the day, because they are so used to that high, that when they're used to that high, they want to stay there all the time. They function better when they're up on that high. Yes. So to come down, it's a lot. Yeah, they don't want to come down. They look, and what we've seen here, it's like they've alternate inhalants even just to make sure that they stay afloat so they don't come all the way down.
Okay. When we come back, we'll talk more about the other stakeholders like Moms Fiji that they do work with and what else can be done to help protect our communities. Welcome back to the show. It is, 27 minutes to 1 p.m. And I'll, with a very, very important topic that I believe covers a lot of issues here in Fiji, from the family to the workplace And focusing on youth, I really, really like to know more about the other stakeholders that you work with. Now, when you sent me the email last week, I noticed that you were also working with Moms Fiji. Yeah, so could you tell me more about that? Like, what's the relationship been like?
So literally the first event that I ever did here in Fiji was at a school, and the Minister of Mums was actually running it. And by that time, it wasn't Minister of Mums. So
Yeah.
we got invited to another meeting, and everybody sitting at the table, and the people got introduced themselves. You know, I'm the PS for this, and I'm a director for this, I'm a CEO for this. It gets to Alana. Oh my God, forgive me. She looks at me and she said, "What are we going to call ourselves?" And I just said, "Just make something up." On the spot, she made Ministry of Mum. She is a mum.
Yeah.
For her, it is quite personal for her because her young son
Mhm.
was offered meth when he was on the bus to school.
Offered meth.
Yes. So for her, she speaks from experience. She speaks from this fire that she wants to save her children. She doesn't want her children to ever be given or offered that.
Mm.
Yes, don't want a society or community with that. So that's how Ministry Mum. So literally, Ministry Mum is with all other parents as well, not just moms, it's dads as well on board to say, you know what, we want something different for our children.
Mm.
Yes.
Do you think that we as a community enable this sort of behavior? Like, for instance, do we protect those that we know are selling drugs down the street? Do we not report them? Is it because we are part of the problem instead of being part of the solution?
I mean, when you look at it right now, the money is not freely available here. There are so many people don't have employment or whatnot. So people are going to look for opportunities to actually make the money.
Mm.
So obviously being a dealer or a runner, whatever the case may be. And if it's a family member, do you know how hard it is for a parent to report their own children?
Yeah.
It's quite difficult because it brings shame to the family. It brings stigma to the family. We tend to hide things till it explodes in our face. And that's where we go wrong. So as parents, you know what? If you're listening out there and you're seeing this is happening with your children or your husband or your wife even is doing this, please, you are doing more damage than good. Yes, the money, it's only temporary. You know, if you get arrested with this, selling this or everything, your life is going to be ruined.
Mm.
Yes, it will affect not only you, it'll affect your whole family, your whole community. Definitely, yes, your whole settlement, wherever you're going to be, it affects everybody all across. Your children are watching. That's it. The kids are watching this, and as kids, you mimic your parent, you mimic your guardians because you just want to be like them.
And as one of the things, when you talk about, with everything that you do and how you go to the communities, how about in terms of support? What do you have in place in terms of support? I'm talking about counseling. I'm talking about referral methods. Do you have those sort of things in place?
Yes. So right now in Fiji, so we get the phone call from everyone after we do interviews and everything. People just call out because there is not one available literally for drug and alcohol here in the country, specifically for drug and alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
That is maybe a gap that we need to look at. Osea does a Hindi community really well. So when they reach out, they speak, especially the parents or the addict, Osea deals with them directly. Because we come from a drug and alcohol rehab as a withdrawal specialist, detox and the rehab and everything else, so we know how to deal with these guys and how to actually help them to recovery. The problem is we don't have a drug and alcohol rehab here in this country. So obviously with other people that we're helping, they are still around the environment where they're at risk more to use again.
Mm.
Yes, unless they get removed from there and being isolated for everyone else, maybe we'll be able to move forward. But what we'll be able to do right now is on the phone, we stay connected. We call them and just say, how things are going, what's happening, anything new, any concerns.
Are you familiar with the AAA services that is being provided by the Salvation Army at Rwanda?
No.
I do believe that they have an existing Alcohol Anonymous program that
Alcohol.
they do. Yeah, but they also specialize in drug abuse as well.
Right.
Have you ever been in contact with
I
them?
have, yes. Last year we did the thing at the National Dialogue at
Yeah.
the university. A lady was there.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Okay. We were waiting for her to come back. We're still waiting.
So hopefully she hears this. But yeah,
Yeah.
from what I've heard about that particular program, they also have a lot of kids who were going through drug abuse and were brought in by their parents. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's something that you can all look at.
Definitely.
Mm.
Yes, it's worth a shot. Why not? The thing is, at the end of the day, it'll take the whole nation to actually help, with this, fight this drug that we've got here in this country.
And have you partnered up with any mental health service providers like Empower Pacific or let's say MSP?
So through the outreach that we've done,
Yeah.
yes. So can I just do that right now?
Yeah.
So last Friday, obviously, it was huge. Last Friday, the 26th of June, that's when we commemorate UN International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking.
Mm.
And what was so pivotal about this, it was the first time the whole country in different spots, there were volunteers that were going out to actually, share the factual information on drugs. So we had a group in Lambasa, obviously. We had it in Sabsabo, Levuka, of course, Lautoka, Mba, Singatoka. Singatoka, they had a march, which was amazing. The whole town stopped for that one.
Last week Friday.
Last week on Friday.
Awesome.
Yes, and we had, a group in Lami, we had a group in Suva, and then obviously Nasinu Nosori, Nandonumai, yes, Nambua, USP, the campus.
Yeah.
And then obviously there was also a shopaholic, a boutique. But I just, last Friday was so pivotal, it was more of the sense of what we did, the official events that we did at Tano waterfront in Lautoka. We had the UN resident address. He did an address, and then obviously Minister for Defense and National Security, Seratu, he officiated the event. Then we had the Commissioner Western for Police.
Mm-hmm.
He read out the declaration. And then we had the Turangani Vanua, yes, that actually, so all of them stood together and declared that they will all, band together, collaboratively together to actually fight this drug, which is by far we have never done. This is on that national and community level as well.
That's pretty awesome.
It was the most powerful thing ever. I was very emotional all day because of that moment. Yes. So I'm just going to read out all those to acknowledge all the different volunteers that took part. So on behalf of Volatamba Group, Mums and Sen, we just want to send through our heartfelt appreciation to one and all those businesses, volunteers, and community that helped us, made the day so memorable.
Yeah.
So we'll start off, just want to thank and acknowledge the Fiji government, Fiji Police Commissioner Western, Fiji Police Force Drug Unit, National Substance Abuse Advisory Council, NASAC, UNAIDS,
awesome,
UNODC, UN Resident Coordinator, Vodafone ATH Foundation, Western Youth Empire, Ready Group, Tano Waterfront, Fiji Water, Goodman and Fielders, Fiji Correctional Services at Levuka Correctional Center, Fiji Police in Singatoka, Fiji Police Force in Levuka, Foundation for Drug World Fiji, FCOS, Suva DCOS, Nasinu DCOS, and Nosori DCOS, Hakwa Foundation, House of Colors in Lambasa, National Fire Authority, Levuka Fire Station, Office of the Provincial Administrator, Lomaiviti, Office Supplies and Rentals, Lautoka, Pygmies, Red Cross Bar in Lautoka, Raining, Miss Overloud 2019, Shopaholic Boutique, Strumpet Alliance, University of Fiji, USP Lautoka Campus, USP Campus Cafe Suva, Walilevu Police Station, Wainamore Youth Club, House of Chameleon, Lautoka Central Transport, Lautoka City Council, Levuka Town Council, Mama Ashi Projects, Medical Services Pacific, Mind Pearl, Ministry of Defense and National Security, Ministry of Health, Levuka Hospital, Peer Educator, Mix FM Lautoka, Nasinu Rugby Team.
Well, thank you very much.
That's a huge lineup.
Yeah, that's a huge lineup of people and supporters and just basically stakeholders who are really behind you on this cause of making Fiji a drug-free one. And I want to thank you both for coming on the show, to Kalesi and Osea. We appreciate everything that you do for our communities and the lengths that you go through, and especially just being there to help those youth who are, in a lost place and need that guiding light. Inakavaklevu. That's it from us today. We hope you enjoyed the show and join us again. Next week on Tuesday, hopefully with Louise. But remember, you can catch the show, replay of the show rather, tonight at about 10 p.m. and also 11 a.m. tomorrow morning. Naka.